President-elect Donald Trump has announced his plans for his first days in office.
With Thanksgiving just days away, we have the information you need to avoid food poisoning this holiday season.
Are you looking for scholarships? I'll have more about how UNT resources can help you get them.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Chris Goodwin.
And I'm Deja Jackson. The threat of U.S. troops deporting thousands of people from the country is on the table. President-elect Donald Trump confirmed today his intention to use active duty soldiers under a national emergency declaration to deport migrants. Trump picked to become the so-called border czar told Fox News he will ramp up arrests of undocumented migrants. The Trump White House may also hire more federal agencies to use buses to move migrants out of the country and consider other options. If active military troops were used in this operation, it would be a fundamental shift for the military, which does not engage in domestic law and enforcement issues. As Donald Trump moves forward with a mass deportation plan, one city in Texas is welcoming refugees at a new center that's preparing for them for the workforce. Alicia Nees has the story from San Antonio.
In a building off Summit Parkway that once housed UPS. Refugees, many from Cuba and Venezuela, are learning to speak English.
A lot of the people who come here, people think they're coming from Mexico, they're crossing the border. The people that we see here mostly are the people who are coming from Afghanistan, that they came from Ukraine, from Russia.
In the Mother Teresa Center, 130 Catholic Charities employees help everyone become self-sufficient.
Muslims, Jewish, we welcome everybody.
J. Antonio Fernandez, president and CEO of Catholic Charities, says they paved the way for people to find a home and a job.
It's complicated to actually provide for someone who just arrived to one country.
The goal is to have all refugees working a steady job within 180 days.
We have factories, we have so many jobs, but we need to have people who are trained and certified to use heavy machinery. Restaurants, who, in San Antonio, a lot of people speak Spanish, and they need meseros, they need people to serve tables.
From a food pantry to a baby boutique, to youth mentoring, to childcare, to teaching life skills.
So this is one of the 3 enterprises that we have, is sewing.
It's wraparound care. Even a legal department helps with work permits.
It's actually a really busy place.
Each refugee who walks through these doors was granted political asylum by the U.S. government. They're living here legally.
And I know that we have a new administration coming in February, but we really think that this is going to be here for many, many years. It's a very interesting times, but for us, it was the right thing to do.
This center has been in the workforces for 2 years. It is in the 13th Resource Center being operated by Catholic Charities in San Antonio.
People across the country are outraged after a neo-Nazi group held a demonstration in Ohio over the weekend. After the public display of hateful messages, community leaders are trying to send a message of their own. CNN's Laura Aguirre has the latest.
A small group of masked individuals carrying large flags bearing swastikas marched through a popular district in Columbus, Ohio Saturday. For some residents, it felt like being pushed back in time.
Most of them are cowards. They don't want to show their faces like the KKK, they wear the hoods.
It's time to be real. We're in 2024. Come on, how many years do we got to go through this?
Witness footage provided to news affiliate WBNS showed the group chanting racial and ethnic slurs.
We're not backing down, we're not running, we're not scared.
Brian Winston is the president of 100 Black Men of Central Ohio. He joined other Columbus community leaders Sunday for a counter demonstration to send a different message.
That hate doesn't get to have the last word. That injustice doesn't get to have the last word, that bigotry doesn't get to have the last word.
This is so vile and so disrespectful. No, simply cannot be.
This incident comes 1 week after several masked people with Nazi and swastika flags demonstrated across 2 small towns in Livingston County, Michigan, including outside a theater staging The Diary of Anne Frank.
It was sickening seeing it in my hometown, of all places.
So far, no arrests have been made in Columbus, but WBNS did confirm with local 911 dispatchers that police were called and some marchers were briefly detained.
I've drawn a strong line in the sand as the Columbus City Attorney, as a prosecutor, that we have prosecuted hate crime in our community, and we're not going to let up. We draw those lines in the sand because we appreciate and respect the diversity and culture of others.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Chris, it was a rainy morning, but it looks like more cold fronts are headed in North Texas.
I know. I've been busting out my winter jackets, but I keep on having to take them off halfway throughout the day.
Well, Chris, I'm sure our weather anchor, Angelique Black, can help you figure out to dress tonight and tomorrow. Angelique?
Thanks, Deja and Chris. Fortunately, you are going to need those jackets and will need to have it stay on. Current weather conditions is 62 degrees and it definitely feels that way. And it's also pretty windy, so be careful on that. Tonight's weather is 58. It's definitely going to feel like 57 degrees. Please make sure you bundle up. Rolling into tomorrow, this is where you're really going to feel the weather of the season of winter, okay? For 48 degrees around 7 a.m. Please stay warm out there. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Angelique. If you see there are women in your classes, you might be right. A new study from the Pew Research Center says that women in the United States are outpacing men and getting bachelor's degrees.
That wasn't always the case, though. 20 years ago, men and women earned that degree in equal numbers, but now women outpace men 47 to 37%. The age group in this study focused on 25 to 34-year-olds, but the study also says this split is true regardless of racial or ethnic groups.
No matter who you are, graduating from college is a wonderful thing. However, everyone knows college is expensive. So as the semester comes to an end, it's time to prepare. ntTV Maddie's Holston is here to tell us more about UNT Scholarship Search Party. Maddie.
Thanks, Deja. College does cost a lot, and as the semester comes to an end, it's time to start doing scholarship process. We all know the scholarship process can be stressful and time-consuming, so tonight I'm at the BLB on the UNT campus for the Scholarship Search Party hosted by the First Gen Success Center. Tonight I'm here with Lizette Reyes, the graduate assistant of the First Gen Success Center. So Lizette, tell me a little bit how this event can benefit students.
So yeah, our office does a lot of helping first-gen students, but we also help just any UNT student that is wanting to use our resources. So today, this is open for every UNT student, and it's just to help them find resources on campus, opportunities for scholarships. We all got to pay for college one way or another, so this was really just hosted to help you find and be prepared to apply for those scholarships.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration or the background behind this event?
So this event is one that we do every year in the fall, but it's also one of the most frequent questions we get in our office. We're always asked, how do we pay for college, or how do we know these scholarships are legit? And so that was kind of why we put on this program. It was to help answer those questions and also get people together to find scholarships for each other.
Amazing. Thank you, Lizette. That was Lizette Reyes, a graduate assistant for the First Gen Success Center. The event is going to be from 5 to 6:30 p.m. and so you have time to come on down and get some information about scholarships you can earn. Now, scholarships are so important, but after we graduate, we have to go into the workforce. So ntTV's Avery Collins is here to tell us about the new generation of resumes. Avery?
Oh, sorry, Maddie. I was just working on my resume, which is actually taking a digital turn for the future. I'll have more on that after the break.
Thank you, Avery. When we come back, we'll show you what McDonald's is doing to win back your trust after a huge health scare.
And we'll explain why we may set a new record to get ready to celebrate Thanksgiving next week. Stay with us.
Craving something fresh, flavorful, and made just for you? Look no further than Avesta, your go-to destination for a delicious, full-service dining experience. Dive into our customizable omelets, expertly crafted by our talented cook Jonathan, who guarantees every bite is perfection. All our dishes are handmade, prepared with only the freshest ingredients. Explore our assembly line where you can choose from any of our globally inspired dishes or customize your plate. It's that easy. And let's not forget dessert. Indulge your sweet tooth with treats from Clark Bakery. With convenient payment methods including card or flex, it's the perfect dining spot for any occasion. Quench your thirst with our wide selection of drinks. Just hand your drinking card to our friendly waiter, and they'll bring your beverage of choice right to your table. When you're done savoring every last bite, our attentive staff will whisk away your tray. Enjoy the peaceful ambiance as you dine in, or use our takeout option for a meal on the go. Avesta.
With graduation approaching, there are thousands of students across the United States that will be on the hunt for jobs, and UNT students are no exception. Our live reporter Avery Collins has more information on Gen Z's creative approach on standing out in the competitive job market. Avery?
All right.
Ain't that so?
And I just added to my digital resume, which is common practice among lots of Gen Zers as they navigate through today's difficult job market. Instead of turning in a traditional paper resume, people are going for video resumes instead. This allows them to show more of their personality and skills in a visually aesthetically pleasing way. But this isn't because digital content is on the rise. It's also because employers are looking for different values than they were just 10 years ago. Social media fluency and creative skills are on the rise and in high demand. Now, people who post these digital resumes can get hundreds to thousands of comments from supporters from all over, encouraging employers to hire them. If you feel gracious, you can do the same on my professional digital resumes, averycollins.tv on Instagram and Facebook. Now, I need to get some more work on these resumes before you get a peek at them, so that's all I have here. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Avery. It's clear that social media plays a huge role in our daily lives. It's also influencing the way that millions of Americans get their information. ntTV Julius Ham is live with a closer look at how social media contributes to today's news landscape. Julia?
Thanks, Deja. 1 in 5 Americans say that they get their news from social media influencers. It's clear that phones are accessible to nearly everyone, so naturally, people will get information in the way that's the most convenient to them. Social media platforms have become a common way for both young people and the older generations to gather news. With the rise of activity on social media, the amount of influencers has also greatly increased. Previous research from Pew Research Center reports that women are more likely to consume news on social media. However, a new survey found that 2/3 of mainstream influencers are men. The most popular sites people use for news are Instagram, TikTok, and X. In addition, both male and female audiences are turning into YouTube videos and podcasts that align with their political views. The significance of podcasts have been further emphasized this year, as seen in this year's election, with both presidential candidates appearing on 2 of the most dominant podcasts among their respective parties. It's clear that social media is not going anywhere, and so it will continue to play a significant role in how we consume and gather news in the future. That's all I have. Let's take it back to the desk.
Thanks, Julia. Now, Deja, I don't know about getting my news from social media, but I am guilty of checking my weather app to see how cold it will be.
You and me both, Chris, but weather apps may be sometimes wrong. And it said it was going to be clear today, and I got caught in the rain this morning.
Well, you know who will give us the correct information all the time? Angelique. Let's check back with her to see how this week is looking.
Thanks, Deja and Chris. Fortunately here, as you guys know, this morning, there was some crazy storms. Fortunately for Denton County, we skipped past that and went right to Grapevine, unfortunately. Storms knocked out the power for Colleyville ISD, but they were able to restore the power back. So that is fortunate for that area of educating students. Now let's talk about getting into this weather and how it's just adjusting for some people. Now in our Texas, we have Gainesville at 60 degrees, Sherman 61. As you guys can see around the Metroplex, we are at 60 babies right now for the degrees, okay? Dallas at 68, that's the highest that we have. But going into our region as of right now, we have Oklahoma City at 67 degrees, tied with Austin. Then you have Denton again at 72. We are in the winds. And you have Abilene at 60 degrees. Rolling into our 7-day forecast. We have Tuesday, 72, the highest, lowest is 42. Going into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we are steady in the 60s, okay? But the lowest is gonna be 37 degrees, so please make sure you have those jackets and skip the sweaters. Going into the weekend, we're rising back up. As you know, North Texas, we are bipolar when it comes to the weather. So we're at 72, 79, and 70 going in. Guys, look, bundle up here. Do note this is not a farewell, but we'll see you back shortly. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Angelique. McDonald's is trying to win back customers after dozens of them fell sick during a recent E. coli outbreak. The source of the outbreak has been linked to onions on the restaurant's quarter-pound burgers. One person died and more than 100 others fell ill. The threat of the illness is now gone, but the outbreak affected McDonald's sales. The fast food chain is investing $100 million to get back in the public's good graces. $35 million will go towards a new marketing campaign, while the other $65 million will go towards helping franchises that were most affected by the outbreak. And while McDonald's has resolved its E. coli outbreak, another is happening right now, and it could affect your Thanksgiving dinner. Tainted carrots have caused one death and dozens of other illnesses in 18 states. The CDC traced the outbreak to Grimway Farms, a carrot farm in Bakersfield, California. These carrots were sold at several big-name stores like Walmart, Target, and Kroger, and the carrots have been recalled from stores but may still be in your home. You're urged to check your fridge and throw away any recalled products.
Who knew you could get sick from burgers or carrots? It just shows how easily our food can cause a major problem. Our segment anchor Kayla Bumpus is here with more on what we can do to avoid getting sick. Kayla.
Thanks, Deja. The recent E. coli outbreak in carrots is serving as a great reminder to stay vigilant when it comes to food poisoning. The most common causes of food poisoning are cross-contamination and not properly refrigerating food after it has been prepared. Methods to prevent food poisoning are as simple as frequently washing your hands, utensils, and cutting boards when dealing with raw meat, and ensuring your food maintains a safe temperature. It is also recommended that you check meat with a food thermometer after it's been cooked and to avoid getting to a lukewarm temperature, because that increases the chances of germs and bacteria showing up. You're definitely going to want to remember these practices this Thanksgiving, whether you're staying home for the holiday or going somewhere else. Nearly 80 million Americans are expected to travel over the Thanksgiving holiday, according to AAA's travel forecast. CNN's Michael Yoshida has a closer look at the numbers and what you should know if you're planning on driving to your Turkey Day destination.
Across the country, Americans are gearing up to get out for the Thanksgiving holiday.
For the first time, we're looking at a 7-day travel window, starting on Tuesday before Thanksgiving and ending that Monday. And we're projecting nearly 80 million people are going to be traveling domestically during that time. This is going to be a new record.
Of that 80 million, 71.7 million people will be hitting the roads and taking advantage of lower gas prices. The national average last Thanksgiving Day was $3.26. This year, AAA says, barring disruptions from tropical storms, gas prices will continue to fall.
Gas prices are much lower than they were this time last year, and we could be seeing a national average around Thanksgiving that's below $3 a gallon, which we haven't seen since 2021.
So when should you hit the road? INRIX, a provider of transportation data and insights, says Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon are the worst times to travel by car. The best times to hit the road is Thanksgiving Day, when interstates and highways are typically clear and travelers won't clash with commuters. But no matter when you choose to travel, use caution.
AAA's biggest safety message is always slow down, move over. With an additional 1 million people on the roads, you're going to have more congestion, more cars, and unfortunately more emergencies.
And if you're planning to take a flight, be prepared for busy terminals. Air travel is also expected to set a new record, up more than 2% compared to last year.
Depending on where you travel for this holiday, things could get tricky. There's a winter storm in the forecast for parts of the northeastern U.S. later this week. Wherever you go, be sure to drive safe. That's all I have. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. Coming up, we've got an inside scoop on a local cultural fashion show.
And the State Fair of Texas was not just about fried foods and rides. We'll explain how fairgoers help Texas businesses break a record this year. Fashion is a great way to be expressive. Through clothing, we get to bring out our personality, but also our cultural. UNT's Arab Language Association has hosted an Arab fashion show this semester. That just did that.
ntTV's Elizabeth Moreno takes us to the scene of the event. Take it away, Elizabeth.
Thank you, guys. The Arab world is rich in culture and diversity. While united through the language that they speak, each country has a unique identity through many characteristics like fashion. Let's take a look at a fashion show that shows us just that.
This runway isn't only hosting a fashion event, but also providing a platform to share a sense of cultural pride.
Actually bring a belt because the belt that the bride wear, it's
UNT's Arabic Language Association hosted its second Arab fashion show, an event seeking to represent the various diverse nations of the Arabic-speaking world through traditional attire. The show encompassed a presentation for Morocco,
You literally can just see that.
Sudan, Palestine,
the traditional cross-stitching embroidery you see on our models today,
Saudi Arabia,
represents Khaliji woman.
and Iraq.
Iraq has a deep connection and history with the creative spirit. Iraqi fashion is full of life.
ALA's president, Catherine Chinchilla, tells us how this event came to be.
We originally just wanted to create bigger events for our organization, and just out of spontaneity and just spitballing ideas, we're like, what if we do a fashion show? So that's what we ended up doing last year.
The event, which took place on Friday at the Jade Ballroom on campus, featured student volunteers as models, and each portion of the show had a native speaker from that country for the introduction, history, and presentation. Special guest from Morocco, Youssef El-Barichi, who also participated as MC the previous year, tells us more.
I'm super excited about it, to talk about the Moroccan fashion and the diversity that we have in Morocco, and represent the Tamazight and Arab culture and Sahrawi. It's all with knowledge that people get to know the country, and clothes is a big part of the culture.
Pulling this show off was no easy task, as Lillian Pruitt, ALA's outreach coordinator, walks us through the rehearsal and behind-the-scenes preparations that took place.
I worked with students on campus, like Arab and non-Arab, to be models, and we handpicked Arab speakers from their respective countries, like Palestine and Morocco, that could give their own rendition of their country's historical importance of their clothing and this.
An event that undoubtedly educated through fashion.
What a great fashion show. That's all I have for this week's Seen and Heard. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Elizabeth. You got any plans tonight, Deja?
Yes, absolutely. The Cowboys are playing, and I need them to win.
Same here. Let's toss it over to our sports anchor, Jordan Lindsay, who has a preview of tonight's game. Jordan.
Thanks, guys. Dallas will try to snap its losing streak tonight at AT&T Stadium. I'll have the latest on the Cowboys, plus some Mean Green sports action after the break.
Has this ever happened to you?
My bike! My bike is gone!
Stolen bikes are an epidemic sweeping college campuses across America.
What am I supposed to do?
It's quite simple. The We Mean Green Fund has partnered with the UNT Police Department to offer free bike locks to any UNT student with a bike. Just show up with your bike in tow and ask.
Now I'll never lose my bike ever again.
Enough worrying. Get your bike lock today.
The Mean Green football team took on UTSA last Friday at the Alamo Dome. They fell behind 14-0 in the first quarter, but fought back in the second quarter with a rushing touchdown from running back Shane Porter. However, UNT continued to trail going into the second half. The team tried to mount a comeback, but the Roadrunners outscored UNT 18-7 in the fourth quarter and captured the win. After the game, UNT fired defensive coordinator Matt Capone. The Mean Green will now play their final home game of the season on Saturday night against East Carolina. The UNT basketball team is off to a great start this season with a 3-0 record. Their most significant win came on the road against Minnesota by only 3 points. The newly formed team is trying to keep their unbeaten streak going on the road tonight against McNeese State. That game tipped off at 6 o'clock. It's a showdown in the Lone Star State between the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans tonight. The Dallas Cowboys will look to capture their first home win this season, while the Houston Texans will compete for their first win this month. Both teams have something to compete for, so I will be front and center to watch this matchup. That's all I have for sports. Now back to you after this.
Thanks, Jordan. Well, Texas football fans may not agree on which NFL team to support, but it looks like Texans do agree on one thing. They like buying local. The Texas Department of Agriculture says the Go Texan Pavilion at this year's State Fair broke sales records. The program supports businesses based in the Lone Star State and connects them with customers all around the world. This year, people bought everything from coffee to houseware and even healthcare items, all at the Go Texas Pavilion. In all, customers spent $1.1 million on Texas-made products at this pavilion.
Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at noon and tomorrow evening at 6 here on North Texas Television.